Thank you. It's timely, it's opportune, and it's a very welcome topic for private members here tonight, and I want to acknowledge Deputy Captain Murphy's work and commitment on this. Tá sé buinte cógáil le díspóireacht, agus ní ada céim fá go bhfuil agla ar daoine agus go bhfuil agla ar an rialtas leanúin siráig agus tackle leis an rún seo. Because it's dócha go rud dearfa gé caint agus córa bheith again an seo agus in Europe. So I don't understand the fear, I don't understand the reluctance against the idea of a conference, because surely debate and conversation have to be welcomed. We seem to have a propensity in this country for wasting money, of not getting the best value for a project or a venture or a plan. We don't seem to be able to get real value for money, and I've mentioned this here before, and they were outlined in one of the Sunday newspapers. And in my own constituency, we have the overspend on the Children's Hospital, not to mention the tribunals, the massive property write-downs. The Irish Glass Bottle Company is a primary example. We look at the incinerator, the National Aquatic Centre, and so on. We don't know how to get value for our money. And similarly, with the debt burden that this country took on, we didn't get the best deal and we didn't get the best value for the country. I acknowledge the signs of recovery that we see, but that will only be believed when recovery reaches the pockets of all sections of society, because we know the sections that are still struggling, the one-parent families, we know the children in low-income households, we know our housing crisis, the people with special needs. But we look at the statistics that you come up with, and listening to the government and to the amendment about the recovery. So I have to ask what kind of growth we would have now if we didn't have the intolerable debt burden to deal with. As it stands, the budget deficits are going to continue to run, meaning more and more will have to be borrowed, which means more expenditure on the interest. And one figure from an economist about the extent, 8.2 billion to service the national debt in 2014. We can consider what that could have gone on. We could just imagine the resources that would be at our disposal for health and for education, for housing, for water, for social issues. And your amendment does refer to that economic recovery. We're the fastest growing EU member state. And again, I mean, how much further we would be with a different debt, one that wasn't unsustainable, because so much of it, a considerable portion, is not our debt. Private bondholders rubbing their hands in glee at their good fortune at our expense. The situation we are in now is a situation that many African countries were in. They had unsustainable debt, which was hindering growth, and they had conditions attached to their loans that wasn't in the best interest. September last, a proposal at the UN General Assembly to establish a committee to negotiate an international mechanism which would enable countries who were unfairly indebted to avoid the default justly. 11 countries voted against, including Ireland. The committee has been established, a UN ad hoc committee on sovereign debt restructuring processes. It met today in New York for the first time. Ireland boycotted that, using the excuse that this wasn't something the EU were getting involved in, but yet there were EU countries that were involved. And it doesn't make sense to be boycotting a mechanism to resolve sovereign debt crises, which could potentially facilitate Ireland getting some leeway on the unjust debt, like the unfair Anglo bonds. There is a change of mood in Ireland, there's a change of mood in Europe. There's a demand for a different way, because families, communities, citizens, they're more and more demanding that they and future generations do not have to service a debt that was created by a greedy few who gambled and lost, but didn't really gamble on as their bonds and investments were guaranteed. So who do we as TDs represent? Is it the bondholders, the developers, the reckless banks and financial institutions, or is it the people? And it's very hard to accept that there are certain developers who lost, who are getting 200,000 a year from this country. If the best interests of the people were the priority, if the government wanted to show that they are connected with the people, why not support the motion? This motion, it's about a conversation, it's about a debate, it's about a conference, and we Irish people are very good at debate and very good at conversation, and I don't understand what is there to lose by having this debate and agreeing with it. Finally, there's a reminder in the motion of the founding principles and the values of the EU, which are to do with solidarity and mutual respect among nations. But where is that solidarity and mutual respect when euro debts are placed on the most fragile shoulders, when Ireland and Portugal and Spain and Greece have suffered disproportionately? It's almost sadistic. The press conference this morning called by Deputy Murphy, it was basically asking for a wider debate that would involve governments, government departments, academics, NGOs, communities, citizens. A great topic for a constitutional convention if we want to go that road again. But it's basically about the common good, and where is the fear in that? Thank you.